the Minister here? Oh, sorry. Yeah, just one very specific question that was put to me, and I don't expect the Minister to answer here, but I would appreciate if you could get back. On the EU digital COVID certificate and plans for travel within the European Union, somebody asked me the very valid question, which is, if you're somebody who your doctor has told you, not through skepticism about vaccines, but where your doctor has told you, because of a particular condition you have, you can't be vaccinated, are you going to be discriminated against in terms of your ability to travel when others who are vaccinated are allowed to travel? Now, I think that's a very fair question, and I think people who are in that situation deserve an answer on it, because they shouldn't be discriminated against. If it is decided at a certain point that based on vaccination you're allowed to travel, or particular conditions around international travel resuming within the EU or within green listed countries or whatever, there shouldn't be an unfair discrimination against people who, through no fault of their own, because of particular conditions, were unable to be vaccinated. So that's a very specific point and question. I'd hope somebody will get back to me on. The main point I want to make is the references to Palestine and the discussions around Palestine, and the Taoiseach's references to the discussion were fairly minimal in just saying that there was a restatement of the commitment to the two-state solution. And I just want to say this. The two-state solution is not a solution, right? The two-state solution has been tried since Oslo, and it has been an absolute disaster. It is, by the way, essentially legitimizing and accepting the principle of the ethnic cleansing of Palestinians and the ethnic religious partition of people who used to live in one country as equals, but who were ethnically partitioned. I mean, imagine if somebody said the two-state solution in Ireland was a legitimate solution. I think a lot of us would balk. And yet we continue to go on about a two-state solution, which is in effect legitimizing and endorsing the ethnic religious partition of the land of Palestine, and in fact, to my mind, is the main basis on which Israel continues to seize Palestinian land and ethnically cleanse Palestinians. It reinforces that idea that because at some point borders will be fixed, we'll grab as much land and ethnically cleanse as many Palestinians as we possibly can, and it's having disastrous consequences. So I think it's time to question the two-state solution as an absolute failed and dangerous fantasy, and start to talk about just equality of everybody in the historic land of Palestine, whether they're Jew, whether they're Arab, whether they're Christian, or whether they're no person and no religion. We wouldn't accept anything less anywhere else in the world. Why do we accept the idea of ethnic cleansing and ethnic partition, which has been so disastrous for the Palestinians? I would also ask in that regard, again, I asked the Taoiseach this, why are we practicing apartheid against Palestinians when it comes to access to the European Union? So Israelis have a visa waiver coming into the European Union, but Palestinians don't. Why are we discriminating favourably in favour of Israel in that regard as against Palestinians? Isn't that apartheid being practiced by Europe, and shouldn't it cease? If we're serious about seeing people as equals in the historic land of Palestine or Israel, whatever you want to call it, why are we treating those two groups of people differently, particularly when Israel behaves quite disgracefully towards EU passport holders who happen to be of Palestinian origin, who enter into Israel trying to access the West Bank or Gaza? Lastly, can I just appeal to the government to do everything it can to assist the people of Gaza in the reconstruction effort. Gaza has suffered 4 attacks in the last 12 years. The 1,148 houses were destroyed in the last attack, 15,000 damaged, and 100,000 people displaced. And as in many cases, people have had their homes destroyed for the 2nd, 3rd, or 4th time. We urgently need to get assistance to the people of Gaza to help reconstruct their shattered society, and particularly in the area of housing.